Ever find yourself wishing you could touch your toes? Well, let's turn that dream into a reality. Hello, namaste, welcome, and thank you for tuning in today. I'm looking forward to sharing this practice for the hamstrings with you and easing out a lot of that posterior chain tension that we get from just sitting down so much. And this is actually on request. This is from my buddy Jake. We were at the climbing wall the other day and he said, can you find me something or create something for me to address my hamstrings? So here we are. And that can be done for you. So let me know in the comments below and I'll create something personally for you. And what you want might also be helping someone else who's watching. So it's a big old circle of love. Okay. So when you're ready, we'll get into it. So I'd like to begin with a very simple warm-up, and you can do this on the ground. So dropping down to a kneeling position. Now, if you're really, really tight, you might want to use some yoga blocks. That's okay. You can do this a little bit balancy. So we're just going to come into a nice low lunge, and then we're going to come into this half splits position. So coming in and then coming back. And don't worry about how far you're going in these movements. As you can see, I'm taking this super easy. I'm really tight at the moment. I've been doing some other training to kind of balance out my flexibility and create a little bit more mobility, strength in flexible positions, and improve other aspects of my health. So also listen to what your body's saying. And what is the appropriate range of motion for the lifestyle that you lead. Okay, let's go a couple more rounds. Notice where you're holding tension. That's what this is all about. Checking in, warming up, preparing. Okay. And then you can come back. You can do a little downward facing dog if you want, if that feels good. And then we'll switch over to the other side. Again, wiggle around. Set yourself up in the way that feels good. And then you're just going to ease back and forwards. Lots of deep breathing. Where are you at today in your mind? What's going on in your headspace? Because that's a big part of our physical practice. We are not the mind, we are not what is going on up there, yet we have to be aware that as long as we occupy this physical form, we're going to have that to contend with. So being able to view without judgment, free from getting involved with what we want from the practice or what has been, and simply appreciating what is now. So a couple more. Okay, tug the toes and then slowly come back. Okay. Now bend into your knees a little bit and lift the heels. So even if your heels are comfortably touching the ground, please lift the heels away for this practice. Spreading the fingers, roll the upper arms away from the ears and relax your neck completely. Couple of deep breaths there. Keep the shoulders strong. And then we're going to come forward to plank. If you want to drop the knees for this next practice, please do. We're simply rocking forwards into plank and then coming back into down dog. Knees can be bent, heels don't need to touch the ground. Remember, we're just checking in. Keep your breath flowing fully. Each inhale really filling up. And as you exhale, sink a little bit deeper into those spaces where you're encountering resistance. We're going to go 2 more rounds. I like to inhale, go forwards, and then exhale into the stretch, but you do what feels right. And then looking ahead, we're going to slowly walk in. So as you come in, if you need to bend your knees, please do. We're going to walk all the way in to the hands. Relax the arms. Let them drag in the ground. If that's too much, feel free to just support a little bit on your ankles. Again, relaxing here. And then we'll continue with this dynamic work to build that warmth in the hips and really wake up the muscles rather than just jumping in, hammering into hard stretches. Okay, so when you're ready, we're going to inhale, we're going to bring the elbows onto the knees, and then as we exhale, we're going to just sink into a chair pose here, and then we're inhaling here. Relax the shoulders back, engage here, and then as you exhale, keeping the elbows pushing into the knees, squeeze into the inner thighs, and then just come into a little bit of a forward fold, and then come back into that chair position. So each time you inhale, you're sinking down, you're strengthening the inner thighs, engaging the quads. You got that little bit of support from the elbows there, and then as you exhale, you're sinking a little bit further forwards, spreading the weight through the toes. Let's go 2 more times. Hold there for a moment, breathe. And then slowly straighten up. Come all the way up. How's that feeling? Let's go ahead, roll the hips. Notice any crunching, any clunking going on. And that's okay. is just a sign that you've probably got quite a bit of tension in the tendons, ligaments. And just keep moving from side to side. Go internally as well. And you can play around with your balance here. So you can keep this foot off the ground. Your other side. Nice. Okay. So hopefully these spaces feeling a little bit more awake. We're going to go into some very basic poses. There's nothing super complex about this practice. It's functional and it's going to work. And that's all I want to do, is provide you with something that's accessible, that you're going to notice changes when you apply the principles. Okay? So we'll stay with that kind of building a little bit of heat. If you find that what we do now is a little bit too much, and all you have to do is bring the hands to the ground, okay? So you bring the hands into the sky, facing the length of your mat, feet a little bit wider than hips. Nice, solid stance. And then deep breath in. Exhale. We're gonna hold halfway. So this is an active stretch for the hamstrings. And we're building stability in the hip space. So if this is too much, you bring the hands, you just tickle the ground with your fingertips. So you got a tiny bit of support there. You're not relying completely on the earth. Lengthen through the crown of the head pointing forwards. And see if you can shift your weight into the little toes as well. So you're spreading the feet completely. Strong upper back. Deep breath. Exhale, fold all the way down. Plant the hands, fingertips can come down. Hold here. A couple more deep breaths. Okay, now we're going to get into the inner thigh a little bit more. So when you're ready, turn your left foot out just a little bit and walk towards that foot. And notice how the other hip's going to try and kind of dip, try and follow you round. Keep it sinking and moving back. This is a particular favorite of mine at the moment. I get a lot of tension through the hamstring attachment here to the inside of my knee. Imagine some of the runners out there will be familiar with this as well. Keeping the breath full. Keep engaging. Watch out for the other leg locking, especially those of you who are a little higher range of mobility. Try and be more active in your stretches than just locking out and going into a skeletal support system. One more deep breath on this side. And then bend into that knee so that you can swivel into center. Turn left foot in, turn right foot out of touch, and then walk over to that side. Keep pushing through that left hip. Lift up around the kneecap. Engage the muscles. Okay, and then when you're ready, bend into the knee. Ease back into the center, turning our foot in. Bend into the knees, bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, come all the way up. And then turn the feet out. We're going to drop into goddess pose for a moment here. We're looking to achieve some balance, okay? So if we want a muscle group to lengthen, there has to be strength and support in the counter. So it's like if I want my hamstrings to strengthen, then I need to, lengthen rather, I have to strengthen the quads. So when I'm coming forwards, there's going to be contraction through the space, contraction in my adductors as well. Because if this isn't as strong as my hamstrings, then there's going to be a lot of battle. My body's not going to relax. Psychologically, I'm not going to relax because I'm like, well, this is winning out. So I'm not going to be able to breathe and go into it. So we're strengthening this front space, this anterior space, so that when we want to lengthen the posterior, we feel supported in doing so. So if you need, place your hands on your knees. We're going to be here for another 5 breaths. Play around with where you put your hands as well. You can do all sorts of mudras and stuff. Mudras are hand positions. They're ways in which we hold our fingers, our hands to create focus or welcome a certain intention. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Come all the way to the top. Okay? So step to the front of your mat. Give your legs a little shake out. This is one of my favorite for the hamstrings. Potentially a little bit more advanced in some people's eyes. So if you've got a block or you've got a table, something you can rest on, then please go ahead and use that. Okay, so standing splits position. Okay, we bring the block down, and what you're going to do is you're going to walk this right foot back, okay, and then squeeze this up, and that might be enough. What I like about this is that it really gets into the calf as well. Okay, lengthen through the crown. So when you're folding, you're creating this hollow space in the abdomen. And if you just try and keep the inner thighs rolling towards one another and squeeze up through that back leg without bending the knee, you're going to create that really big stretch all the way through the back. And what you're doing here is you're strengthening the glutes of this upper leg. So you're getting that stretch at the front there, active stretch. And then through doing so, the mechanism is lengthening out all the way down to the heel. Now bend the heel in. Keep this squeezing, and what you're going to do is you're going to try and move the knee up, okay? So just keep the heel hugging in. Some people like to flex the toes. You've got 2 more breaths here if it's possible. Keep the knee tracking back, not out to the side. And then slowly ease. Don't know about you, but I like to stand up between sides and just give that standing leg a good old shake out. And then we'll set up for the next, okay? Remember breathing all the time. Okay, so track back first. Make sure that the balancing leg is engaged and pulling up. You're not just locking back. And then slowly bring this foot up. I'm a big believer in getting wrapped up in the quality of the movement rather than how far you're going in that movement. Okay, and then slowly tuck the heel in. So you're really waking up the glutes of that upper leg to hold in here. Push the knee back. So you're trying to just keep it lining all the way back. So again, don't worry about height. Lengthen the upper body as well. Watch out for collapsing and rounding of the upper back. One more breath. Slowly ease. And slowly come all the way up. Shake out if you need to shake out. We're going to continue with these more active postures. If you need, pop yourself up against the wall right now. So we're going to be stretching the hamstrings by an active balance posture. So if you need, what you're going to do is take your hand, pinch your hip, and rest the elbow just gently against the wall, or just ever so slightly away from the wall. And if you feel okay with this, then you're just going to reach and take the foot and you're going to stay there. Okay, so when you're ready, we're going to try and get there actively. So inhale, squeeze up. Now you might find, okay, I can't reach that without falling over, so you bend the knee, then take. So we've still actively brought the foot up there. And then we bring the foot forwards. And imagine that long line from your tailbone all the way to the crown of your head. You can hold the hip, or you just have the wall and you're tapping, or doing what I like to say, like seagull arms, you know, balancing out. One more deep breath. And releasing. Okay. Shake out if you need to shake out. Go over to the other side. Shift the weight. Transfer into the feet. Again, active legs, not locked legs. And then we squeeze. Try and bring it up to here. If you want to not reach the foot and just do Uttita Padangusthasana, so the extended hand to foot pose here, okay? You just hold. So that's going to get the active strength in your adductors, in your quads. So you're getting that contractile force, and you can feel that. You can feel your hamstring there kind of countering. You're trying to squeeze this up, engaging, contracting here. Okay, and then if you want, you're going to reach that. Deep breaths. Last one. And then ease. Okay. Shake that on out. So the next posture I find incredibly useful for also easing out shoulders. Now, if it's too much for you to take this hand position, I'm going to offer you an easy solution right now. So if you can't get into the next pose, you're going to hold the elbows or hold the wrists. We spend so much of our time hunched over technology these days, especially right now. So we want to open this space up. Yet, if that's not possible right now, we take small steps, right? So, touching your fingertips together, you're going to roll the hands away from the back, so thumb rolling back, press the palms together, if that's possible, and start to work that up the back. Step your right foot back. It's just a pace, okay? Pull through the feet, engage, roll inner thighs. And now, just come to halfway, please. And that might be enough for you. Keeping the chin ever so slightly tucking, so the crown of the head is lifting forwards. You're not looking forwards, you're looking down to your big toe. And then you're lifting the heart space as though you're trying to send it towards the big toe. Couple more deep breaths here. And then inhale, come all the way up, okay? Shake the hands out, switch back. We're going to do a different variation now, rather than just repeating that hand position over and over again. Okay, so interlace the fingers, and just watch out here for elbows locking, but we'll get into that in detail once we're in the pose. So intense forward fold. So inhaling, come to halfway, and then press your thumbs towards one another, roll into them, keep the elbows engaged, and then you're going to try and push the hands up towards the sky. Legs are strong, and then we're going to see if we can go a little bit further forwards. Think length through your spine the whole time. So don't worry about how far you're going forwards. Think, how tall am I feeling in the spine? How open is my breathing? One more deep breath. And then inhale. Bend into the knees if you need. Come all the way up to the top. Shake the arms out, give the shoulders a roll. And we're going to get into something a little bit tougher now, because I'm hoping that the legs feel woken up. I feel that the body is a little bit looser. So we are going to get into quite a challenging little lunge position. So it's a low lunge. It's really going to strengthen this front hip space. You're going to start by placing your hands on the knee here. So you're pushing away here, engaging the back muscles, lifting up into the chest, and make sure that this left knee stays underneath the hip, and then you're just going to come up for 2 breaths, just a couple of inches hovering that knee off the ground, ease, come down. So switching to the left hand side now, and squeeze into that front hip and come up to that strong position. One more deep breath and release. Come on down. So we're going to try this again without the hands in support and really feel how much that fires up everything in the hip space, and it's going to help with strong hips, strong core, and quite a lot of stability here. Okay, so when you're ready, hands out to the side, elbows in line with shoulders, inhale, squeeze up. And come down. Ease. Let's switch over to the other side. Squeeze the shoulder blades. So you're creating that activity all the way up through your body. Inhale. And ease. Okay. Let's go ahead. Come back up to standing. Shake the legs out. Might get a couple of clicks, little pops, and those are good. That's tension releasing in the body. So we're going to do a little check-in. Maybe you could already touch your toes before you try this video. Maybe you couldn't. So we're going to see where we're at. Again, video's not about touching your toes. It's beginning that process. It's all about enjoying that journey. Okay, so let's bring the hands to the hips. And we're going to try and get that actively. So pull through the feet. Breathe, lengthen all the way up through the crown of the head. Squeeze your shoulder blades back. Come to halfway. Pull up through your kneecaps. Shift the weight forwards into your toes. Now release your hands down. And see the legs are straight. How far away are you from the toes? Keep the weight shifting, spreading through the feet. Now see if you can send the crown of your head forwards. And now, can you touch your toes? Wherever you are, okay, if that's resting on your shins, maybe elbows on knees, wherever you need to be, or just holding the elbows, whatever feels good. Appreciate where you are. The physical yoga practice is very much about the health of the spine. And if we have a lot of tension through our hip space, our hamstrings, quads, all the lower portions of the body can affect the way in which our pelvis sits. And then that's going to in turn affect the way in which our spine is working. So think length through the spine rather than how deep you are in any given posture. Okay, bend into the knees. Inhale, come all the way up to the top. How'd that feel? You any closer to touching the toes? I'd love to know what you think, so let me know in the comments below. We're going to keep on going with this, just 2 more poses, and then we can get into Shavasana. So if you want to do a vinyasa to get to the ground, do a vinyasa. Otherwise, I'm just going to drop myself down to the knees. So we've already done this pose, right? Half splits position. We're going to do this in quite an active way. So from here, hands down. Keep the chin just gently tucking in, and you're looking towards the big toe. Now drag your right heel through the earth like it's trying to make its way to the left knee, and pull through the left knee, and you can feel that squeezing, right? You can feel that working its way into the outer hip as well. Little point in the toes. Lift out through the crown of the head, and now you're going to send your heart forwards towards that big toe. So it's a very active way of doing this posture and making sure that we wake up everything rather than just dumping the weight and being quite passive in our stretch. Couple more deep breaths here. And then bend into the knees. Slide the foot on back. And let's try for the other side. Okay. Now, there might be some of you who are more experienced in this practice. So if you want to go into deeper splits positions, please feel free to. Yet I'd like to encourage you to use the same mechanics that we're using in this position to energize and really activate the way in which you're doing your splits. So pulling up around the kneecap, pull heel and knee towards one another. Crown of the head is drawing forwards. You're looking with the eyes towards the big toe and you're sending your heart towards that space, keeping that tall spine. You can spend more time in these poses if you want. All you have to do is pause the video, hang out there, come back to the rest of the practice when you want to. One more deep breath, keep that activity in the legs. And then bend into that front leg, ease, come back, drop the knees down, come to sitting. So for this next pose, it might be quite tough on the knees. So if you need, you're going to take a yoga block, maybe some pillows, and you're going to cushion your bum, okay? So what we're going to do is, I'll demonstrate with this actually. Plonk this on here. You're going to roll towards one side, okay? Let's say the left side for ease. And then you're going to slide the other leg forwards. You're going to keep the knees close together. And so this is what we call three-facing pose or three-faced pose in practice. I love the Sanskrit. Sheng Mukekapada Paschimottanasana. You know, it's like that. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. You know, try and say that a few times fast. And we're going to lift, again, that same principle, engage through here and come forwards. Notice you can probably go a little bit further here. I always feel it around my SI space a lot more than I do in the half splits position. And also back of the knee and semitendinosus, that inner space of the hamstring attachment. So if you're tight, use more props, like I am today. The consistent practice is sustainable, you know. Don't know about you, but I still want to be doing all the stuff that I'm doing now when I'm in my 80s. So I hope that the way in which I teach is showing you the longevity of the practice. And then slowly, we're inhaling, coming up. And once again, you rock onto that side to slide the foot back. And then taking the left foot forwards, squeezing into the inner thighs, foot pointing forwards. Lift through the heart space. And send the heart space down. Keeping the breath full at all times. If you allow your breath to be the focus of your practice, I truly feel that you get a more quality release. You find some deeper space. You can let go of a lot of tension, both psychologically and physically. And when we tap into the breath, we get lost in the body, then we're giving ourselves space in the day away from our mind, away from the thoughts. And we can realize, I am not my mind. I am not those 68,000 thoughts that are occurring like every minute or something ridiculous like that. So breathing fully. And then slowly ease all the way up. Rock onto the hip once again. Slide the heel back. Come into a little down dog to bicycle and ease the legs out. And then walk your way forwards. Come to sitting on your bum. And let your body come all the way down. And let everything go. Allow your breath to be full. Wriggle if you need to. And then find yourself utterly still for a moment. Enjoying all that lovely space that you've created for yourself. Take as much time as you need there. Just drift away into all that calm and that stillness that you've cultivated. I'm going to sign off from this end. If you've got anything that you'd like me to attend to, any thoughts on what you'd like to see on the channel, please, when you get a moment, just let me know in the comments below. So grateful for you tuning in and giving me your time and your focus today. I look forward to sharing more practices with you again in the near future. Until then, I hope you have an incredible day. Namaste.